Okay, first things first, I know this isn't exactly what everybody thinks of when they think of Halloween horror movies. They think more like Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and all that kind of good stuff. But this movie is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. So, if I'm going to review a horror movie or talk about it at great length, it's going to be this one for sure. This is The Thing from 1982, and I gotta say, if you've never watched this movie, turn this shit off, go watch that movie, and then come back here. The Thing from 1982 is quite possibly a masterpiece. It is, without a doubt, my favorite horror movie ever made. Now, did it ever need a sequel or a prequel or anything else like that? Nope. But of course, they did, because Hollywood loves to ruin everything good. Now, I've heard the common complaint about the new movie from 2011 is the god-awful effects, which, yes, they are god-fucking-awful, but that's among other things. So, here's a real quick summary of the movie. Basically, a group of guys are in an Antarctica base, and then they uncover a big old alien, and the alien's actually still alive, and its cells can take over other organic life forms, and basically become that organic life form by consuming them. It becomes a real claustrophobic nightmare, and it's horrific. Absolutely brilliant movie. The way it's made, the way that all these guys are trapped here with this alien life form that is currently possessing one or more of their team members that they used to know, is just a brilliant concept. So how about a short plot synopsis of the new 2011 Thing? Alright, well, the problem is I can't really remember any of the characters' names because they weren't really interesting enough to remember. Even though it's only been like 2 weeks since I've actually rewatched this pile of shit. I think the main character... Yeah, that's right, this movie has a main character, unlike the 82 version where there isn't really a main character. I mean, it's obviously Kurt Russell because he's fucking Kurt Russell. But you don't really know who the main character is that whole movie because there isn't really a typical main character. Okay, so I'm too lazy to look it up. I'm pretty sure her name is Kate, though. She's like the typical boring main character where she figures everything that there is to know about this alien that nobody would possibly actually know about unless they like do research and experiments and shit. Well, she figures it all out because, you know, she's fucking perfect at everything, I guess. But she's also an action hero because she can fight this thing as well, because of course she can. And if you're the kind of person who's sitting there thinking, oh, well, you just don't like this character because she's a woman and you hate strong women in any form of media, you're a fucking idiot. I don't like poorly written characters like this chick. There's not a moment in this movie where I'm fearing for her safety. And that's because she is flawless. She's just a perfect character. Terrible. Fucking god-awful character. Stop writing characters like this. And then we get this guy who's probably the worst character in the whole fucking movie. Like, this dude, I half expected him to be a mustache-twirling villain. Because he fits that mold so well. In a fucking movie about an alien that takes over people and tries to disguise itself as these people, and it slowly takes over the group individually, one at a time. And we got this dude who's like, he's an asshole for no fucking reason. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else but doing experiments on this fucking alien. And he even like one scene he's like, listen here, Kate, I'm gonna need you to not one-up me. That's like not exactly what he says, but I'm too lazy to bring up that clip, and I don't want to watch this fucking movie anymore to know exactly what he says. But it's pretty much something like that. Like, this kind of shit does not belong in this kind of movie. Oh my god, I can't believe that this character existed. And of course, he's the final thing that she has to kill, because of course it is. And of course, the thing also has his face, because of course it does. I'll get to that later, trust me. That's gonna come later. The monsters, oh god, we have to cover the monsters, don't we? Alright, so we're done with the story. I don't give a shit about any more characters in this god-awful movie. There's more, there's like a love interest even. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, so let's talk about how they discover the aliens. So in the original, Well, they do a blood test. It's the best part of the movie. And that's saying something. It's a real famous part. I'm not even going to spoil what happens in that. Just watch the scene. If you've already watched it and you know what I'm talking about. In this, they do something kind of okay. I don't mind it. It has to do with, like, metal or something. It's never brought up in the 82 version. Apparently, the thing cannot replicate metal, like earrings or piercings or stuff like that, which is fine, I guess. So yeah, the story fucking sucks. Yeah, it's not just the practical effects or the special effects that this movie has that are like the bad things when comparing it to the 82 version. It's the story too. Unfortunately, now it's time to compare, well, the monsters in the movie. So, as you probably already know, if you've seen either of these movies, the effects in the 82 version are quite good for the time. They're all practical effects. They don't look exactly realistic, but they do look very effective and fucking scary. Now, the thing in 2011 looks ridiculous, if I'm being honest. They all look kind of the same. There's a bunch of tentacles, a bunch of CGI just mess. So let's get into it. Let's compare. How about we compare every encounter with the Thing in both movies? Let's just do that. But before I do, let's take a listen to what Fuchs says in the 82 version about the Thing that Blair wrote in his journal.
The chameleon strikes in the dark.
That's going to be real important later, so remember what he says there. So basically, the monster in 82 strikes while, you know, it's got you isolated. And it does it silently. Hell, it can even sometimes put it in your food and take you over that way. And that's the brilliance of the Thing from 82. You can actually think and piece together, if you're paying attention, just when the hell whoever gets infected by the Thing, you know, whenever it actually happens. There's a part where the dog goes into somebody's room. It's unclear whose room it goes into, but the dog is a Thing. So it's obvious that the dog infects who's ever in that room, and that person spreads it around. And this scene where Blair's in the shack, it's so obvious that whoever's infected by the Thing gave him the food, and the food is also infected. That's why Blair's the last thing that MacReady destroys at the end of the movie. That's how Blair became a Thing. You have to think this shit through and pay attention. Also, the dialogue in this scene's always kind of funny. Like, I think that's how my dog would react every time I go to let him back in the house from, you know, being outside for a while.
How you doing, old boy?
I don't want to stay out here anymore. I want to come back inside.
Speaking of dogs, the first thing in the 82 version that reveals itself is the dog thing. And oh god, it is easily the scariest thing in the whole movie. And that's saying something because just about all of them were quite effective. This one is just fucking horrifying. Jesus Christ. Can it get any worse? Good sweet mother of fuck. Yeah, there's no way it can get any fucking worse than that. Okay, seriously, Rob Bottin, what the fuck was going on in that head of yours, man? That's the kind of shit you gotta kill with fire. Like, a whole hell of a lot of fire, too. Make sure that shit stays fucking dead. God damn.
Boom! Jesus.
What a totally effective and proper use of a jump scare. Great idea. Wow, one right after another. Awesome. I guess the first one was a fake out to make you think that nothing was going to happen even though it was very obvious. Now, despite my bitching, this scene in 2011's Thing isn't actually too bad. In fact, I actually kind of like it. This is the first appearance of the Thing after it breaks out of the ice. We can't really see it up close, which is fine. If you're doing CGI and you know it looks like shit, try to keep as much of that as you can hidden away in shadow so it's not so goddamn noticeable. Oh god, we'll get to that. Wow, is it just me or did that look like shit? Let's take an instant slow-mo replay. Wow, what a masterpiece. Oh, and don't worry about the guy who dies here. He's irrelevant. I don't even remember his name. He probably didn't even have a name. As long as he's not Kate, the mustache-twirling villain, or the love interest, it's all good. So the next thing in the 82 version comes from good old Splitface here. We'll get to that thing later. That actually shows up in the 2011 version. And it's probably the only, well, one of the only parts of the film that I actually kind of enjoy. Anyways, Splitface here ain't actually dead, and actually gets hold of Bennings. Yeah, that's right, I can remember the characters from the 82 version. Every single one of them, and they all have ridiculous names. Anyways, he gets a hold of Bennings and starts to transform. Now that's good, subtle horror. It's not like the damn thing just bounced out of the bed and shrieked loudly to do a good old jump scare. No, it waited till everybody else was out of the room, and then it attacked one of the guys. And it did so quietly. However, it didn't expect that Windows would return and see it mid-transformation. So because of this, the group are able to track down the Benning thing before it, is able to fully assimilate and become Bennings. And they kill it with fire, but not before it does this.
Alrighty then.
Okay, so now, as I've already said, in the 82 version, you can pinpoint when everybody who gets infected by the thing would have gotten infected if you pay close enough attention. 2011, I couldn't tell you when the hell this dude got infected. I really couldn't. Maybe I overlooked something. Of course, I can't even remember this dude's name, so that shows how relevant this guy is. But yeah, he's a thing. They're about to take off in the helicopter, and then they're getting stopped, and they're landing. And, well, this guy's like, fuck it, I guess I might as well transform into the thing and attack everybody. That's real subtle, but, oh god, the thing that he turns into might be the worst looking thing I've ever seen. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is this? What even is that? Oh my god, it's fucking off. Look at that! Look at it! Look, I know that the movie had prosthetic effects to begin with, but even with them, the movie still would have sucked. But at least you would have had a terrible movie that had some good, competent effects, instead of whatever this is. I'm at a loss for words at how awful this looks. I mean, it's literally just an explosion of CGI tentacles. And look at that face. That is, oh my god. This is awful. This is just fucking awful. Next up, in the 82 version, is after Norris has a heart attack, and Copper's using the defibrillator on him, then we get this.
Clear.
So I assume that the thing is not a big fan of getting hit with a defibrillator. I mean, it does hate fire too, so I mean, I guess it doesn't like electricity. But yeah, the point is, the doctor dies here, Copper. I can remember these characters' names. It's the 2011 version, I cannot. Anyways, he dies here, and then out of the stomach, out of this giant maw, erupts whatever this is. Imagine all the time, effort, and dedication went into making all these effects for this movie. And you get a result like this, so it's effective, I'll give them that. Of course, this thing doesn't stick around very long because Kurt Russell burns the shit out of it, but it ain't over yet, because then the head of Norris starts to detach and runs around after it sprouts some legs. God, what the hell? It tries to scurry away, but of course it's found rather quickly.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
So next up in 2011's thing, we've got this chick. I'm pretty sure her name is Juliet. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember a character referring to her as that name, so we'll go with it. Anyways, her transformation into the thing might be the stupidest in the whole movie, and it's not just because it looks like shit. It looks like shit, of course, but it's just the reason why she transforms in the first place. So her and Kate are going to find all the keys to the vehicles to prevent everyone from being able to leave because they think that somebody's still a thing. Well, that's all well and good, but Kate is... Okay, so Kate is looking inside a dresser for the keys. And in the background, she doesn't realize that Juliet is starting to transform. That's my biggest problem with this scene. Why is she transforming? It's been made established in the 80-fucking-2 version that they don't need to transform to assimilate someone. How else would the thing, attack silently, like it's fucking supposed to?
The chameleon strikes in the dark. The chameleon strikes in the dark.
So if the thing from 2011 was as smart as the thing from 82, Kate would be dead in this scene. But instead, fuck it, we need more loud noises and fucking tentacles, CGI mess, ooh, scary. Well, that was real nice of our protagonist to basically just let this dude die. All she did was run past him and yell, "Run!" I mean, at least grab him by the shirt or hand or something and drag him with you. Don't just let him stand there while that thing comes at him. It's not like she didn't have time to, grab him by the hand and run with him or something. By the time she ran past him yelling, "Run!" This thing hadn't even broken through the doorway yet. So then this thing starts sucking on this dude whose name I can't remember. Doesn't matter, he's dead. And then it gets fried. The end. Next up for the 82 thing, we have probably one of the most famous scenes in an entire horror movie. It's the blood test scene, of course. And it's the part where Kurt Russell has everybody tied down to a chair. And he's testing all of their blood with a hot needle. And if it reacts, then that means that they're the thing. Now, up until this point, this movie's been trying fairly hard to make you think that Gary here is actually the thing, but it's actually Palmer, and we get a pretty effective jump scare. We didn't see it coming because we were focused on Gary and McCready talking, and he hits the blood with the needle and it jumps, and then Palmer starts to transform. Into what? I couldn't tell you. Windows, unfortunately, gets got here as well, and the scene itself is, well, it's admittedly kind of bad, but still a hell of a lot better than anything from 2011. Speaking of 2011, we get this scene that is basically a cheap imitation of the blood test from 82. And what this is, of course, Kate came up with this plan by herself, because of course she did. And you could argue Kurt Russell came up with the whole blood test, but that's only after he's seen the whole Norris thing and the fact that every bit of it wanted to survive. So he came up with the idea that, well, the blood would probably be the same way. And here we get... So she's checking everyone's mouths to make sure that they have teeth fillings. Because, the thing cannot copy inorganic material such as metal. Which is just a stupid idea because 4 guys in this team don't have teeth fillings. So once you weed out the people who don't have teeth fillings, how are you supposed to know if one of them is the thing or not? Not everyone on the goddamn planet has teeth fillings. I don't have teeth fillings. I probably need some, but I don't have them. So I guess I would be a candidate to be the thing, apparently, according to Kate's master plan. And of course, one of the 4 is toxic male McPatriarchy, or whatever the fuck his name is. But it turns out that it's not McPatriarchy, it's some other dude. And his, arm detaches and it starts sucking on this dude's face. And it looks like shit, of course. And then the dude who's actually the thing is, like 3 people die in this whole scene. Maybe more. The McPatriarchy gets taken over by the thing later, but this thing kills 3 guys. It kills the black dude here. It kills this fuckhead. Well, it kind of mixes with them. And this was okay, I guess. This is all right design. It's pretty creepy, honestly. And it's also split face, from 82. That's the alien that they find. So it's a nice little callback. It's too bad the movie's shit. Anyway, they then see the evil toxic male driving off to the spacecraft of the alien or whatever. So during the climax of The Thing 82, Blair is actually the Thing, of course, because he's the only one who didn't get to take the blood test, and he was out in the shack the whole time. Well, it turns out he's escaped, and he's been working on a big spaceship underneath the shack the entire time. Because, you know, it wants to escape and get out into humanity so he can infect everybody. Well, so the group then decide that they need to blow up the entire camp to stop Blair. Seems a little extreme, but sure. Unfortunately, Gary doesn't make it, and neither does Knowles. He takes them out silently.
The chameleon strikes in the dark.
So, of course, Kurt Russell's the last one left, and armed only with a stick of dynamite, Blair fully transforms and eats the detonator for all the explosives around the base, and then he emerges in all of his glory, and holy shit, he is massive. Also, out of his stomach, there's like this little dog monster. I don't understand why. Just why. Anyway, it doesn't really do a whole lot. It just kind of stands there. And then McCready does this absolutely badass tuck and roll.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
So after Kurt Russell says a one-liner that doesn't really fit the situation exactly, but it's still badass, he chucks the dynamite. The little dog thing attached to the Blair thing eats the dynamite for some reason, and the dynamite blows up and it like triggers the detonator that Blair also ate, and it blows up the entire base.
Fuck you too!
Of course, that's not the entire end of the movie. We get a big old cliffhanger that everyone interprets kind of differently. Like, people always wonder whether or not Childs was actually a thing or not. I don't really think so. I don't really see how he could be in this moment. Like, why would he just come up and just sit down and talk to McCready if he really was a thing? Why not, like, go outside and freeze or something? Or just kind of sneak up behind him and take him over that way. Like, both of these two are like, exhausted, so it wouldn't have much trouble. Now, if you want to get really technical with it, Childs here has an earring in, like he does throughout the entire movie. Now, based off what the 2011 establishes, kind of, that the Thing can't copy inorganic material, such as earrings or other metals. And yet he has an earring. Now, I don't really count this exactly, because obviously 2011 did some lore stuff that they didn't really think of in the 82 version, so I don't really count that, but I still don't think Childs is a thing here. I guess it's up to your interpretation. That's the beauty of this movie. Oh, now it's time for the climax of this dog shit movie. So Kate and Mr. Love Interest go to the alien ship after chasing toxic male patriarchy there. Well, they get separated, and then this happens. Oh my God. Can I see that one more time? They weren't serious when they made this, right? This was a joke to them. It had to be. Can I see this? Just this one more time, please. Okay, now just a continuous loop. I think I could watch that all day. So it gets the drop on her, and what does it do? It just bitch slaps her? Like, really? Don't you just love plot armor in horror movies? It really just sucks the tension right out of the scene. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Holy shit! Why do all of these things look the same? Just a bunch of CGI Dead Space tentacles, and that's pretty much all the monsters. God damn it! Don't worry, we're almost fucking done. I'm almost done with this shit. Why are there so many terrible jump scares in this fucking movie? Seriously, while I'm editing this thing, I can see the little audio bar for all the sound clips, and I see this moment where the bar is real low, and it just peaks out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, there's a jump scare, loud noises and such. Fucking hell, loud noises and jump scares and all that shit are the cheapest form of horror. There's got to be a payoff for a jump scare. There can't just be some generic monster. Ooh, loud noise. That's it. So yeah, that's how they kill the last thing. Kate just chucks a grenade into its mouth and it blows up. Woo! And then they go out back to the vehicle, little ice car or whatever. Kate figures out that love interest McGuy is actually a thing because he's missing his earrings. Oh my goodness. So she torches his ass. And then Kate probably freezes to death, but she's perfect in every way, so she's probably alright. And that's the end of the movie. Thank God. So yeah, this movie's nothing but a cheap imitation. We didn't need this story, okay? We didn't need a prequel to set up for the 82 version. At least I didn't. And even if, I can tell you, even if this movie used the practical effects that they made before, the movie still would have sucked. It would have had way better effects, so at least it would have been a little bit more memorable, but it still would have been shit. CGI sucked, characters were forgettable, story sucked, nothing but a cheap imitation of the brilliance that was the 82 version. Now, when I first went back to rewatch this movie, I'm like, okay, this time one of three things will happen. It'll either be better than I remember it, mediocre and I won't make a video about it, or it'll be dog shit and I'll rip ass into it. What do you think this video is, huh? It's pretty obvious. Now I'm going to do what must be done. I'm going to destroy another power source and get rid of this cheap imitation.